Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Menchu Macapagal. Today on the program, a top defense official lashes out at China after it blamed the Philippines for the recent heightened tensions in the West Philippine Sea. Amid the verbal sparring, the Chinese Foreign Ministry says it is ready to open a dialogue with the Marcos administration. And later, a Filipino lawmaker alleges Beijing may be funding destabilization efforts in Manila as China puts a stop to rumors it is employing online trolls. Defense Secretary Gibo Teodoro joins us on the program. The Philippines castigates China for accusing Manila of stirring up trouble in the West Philippine Sea. The country's defense chief says most nations support the Philippines over its maritime claims as backed by the landmark 2016 arbitral ruling, while Beijing has no other country taking its side in the dispute. Amid the rising tensions with China, the Philippine Air Force acquires a new Japan-built radar system to detect intrusions into the country's airspace. The air surveillance radar system is part of the long-term modernization plan of the armed forces. Let's go straight to the source of the story, Defense Secretary Gibo Teodoro. Good morning, Secretary, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Menchu, and to all our televiewers. And I'd like to greet the Armed Forces of the Philippines a happy 88th anniversary today.
Well, happy anniversary. Such a great occasion for us to be talking about the issues today. Well, Japan has turned over an air surveillance radar system in La Union, and you were present during the turnover, right? This is just one of the 4 units purchased by the Philippines. So how big of a boost are these to our military's capabilities?
It is surely a big boost because it gives us maritime and aerial domain awareness up to 300 nautical miles and ballistic awareness for a further scope. And main part of all of this is knowing what's happening, not only in the West Philippine Sea, but throughout the 360-degree circumference of our archipelago. So domain awareness, command and control, interdiction capabilities, which, it goes without saying, strategic basing, upgraded area denial capabilities. That is part of the modernization thrust of the Armed Forces of the Philippines under the comprehensive archipelagic defense concept. The new package of acquirables, let's say, is set to be approved by the President soon.
Okay.
And this is a new mix of capabilities that we hope to acquire in 10 or 15-year schedule.
Okay, but let's talk a little. Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
But when do you expect the delivery of the 3 more air surveillance radars, because this is the shorter term, right? The radars are first.
Yes.
Okay.
I think about 2 will be arriving next year and 1 the year next. It's not only the arrival of the radars, but the preparation of the sites, which is also crucial, and it's meticulous. We also, like yesterday, when I inspected, there were certain things that we had to adjust to make the system more foolproof, and redundancy and service continuity is built in.
Okay, can you disclose the locations?
Right now, Wallace is a no-brainer. It's always been there, and it's going to upgrade. And there are current sites like in Palawan and in Lubang. But for now, we will not disclose the rest of the 4 remaining sites. And in the revised Horizon 3, we have to acquire more.
Okay. Well, you were saying earlier that
This Menchu, no, this
yes.
package does not only include the fixed radar sites, but a mobile radar.
Okay. Well, you were saying earlier that the president is set to approve the long-term plan or acquiring
No,
acquiring
it's a 10-year plan.
10-year plan.
A horizon plan, but we can front load a lot of the capabilities on a logical and project management basis by the use of various financial techniques. No?
Okay. So
But
can,
we are also cognizant of the admonition or the warning given by the president that we have to have balanced financial stewardship standards. Yesterday, he made that announcement very clear in the budget.
all right. But can we expect more partnerships with Japan when it comes to defense and military
Definitely.
equipment?
Definitely, Menchu. As a matter of fact, in the visit of the president to Japan, both the President Marcos, and Prime Minister Kishida, once again expressed their desire that the reciprocal access agreement between the Philippines and Japan be concluded at the soonest possible time, so our respective our Senate and their Diet can concur with it as soon as possible.
Okay, but tell us where we are exactly in terms of the talks.
We have received their counter draft already, and we will review it and submit our comments. And if there are no contentious issues, then it can be recommended for the president for signing, or his delegation of the appropriate official to sign.
Okay, so are we saying that it's possible to finish the RAA by next year? And
Oh yes, it is possible by next year.
okay, is there a specific time period that you are targeting, sir?
No, I wouldn't want to, because it may raise failed expectations. But on the drafts, hopefully within the first quarter, and then hopefully our Senate can ratify it as soon as possible.
Okay, so what will the RAA cover? Is it going to be similar with our VFA with the United States and Australia?
Yes, it will be exactly like a VFA.
Okay.
It's just the term that Japan uses.
All right. Now, is an RAA needed for the Philippines and Japan to do joint patrols in the West Philippine Sea?
No,
No.
no, it's not needed.
Okay.
No, because in the open seas, basically there's a right of innocent passage, and the Philippines really has a right, and technically, no, on the EEZ, that's within the Philippines' administration of its sovereign rights, but it's not territorial. So there is no RAA needed. However, with the strategic partnership with Japan, it is not only our navies that will be cooperating, but the other elements of the Japan Self-Defense Force. For example, this radar is actually more in the domain of the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force. And so it comes with a whole array of packages. And let's also remember that there are interoperability exercises on the ground between the US, the Australia, and hopefully with Japan too.
All right. Well, we will continue this conversation on joint patrols after a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Menchu Macapagal. Our source today, Defense Secretary Gibo Teodoro. All right. Secretary, are you there? Hi.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi.
So before we took a quick break, we were discussing joint patrols, and the Philippines recently
Yes.
conducted joint patrols with the U.S. and Australia. How likely is a multilateral patrol next year?
Oh, it is very likely with other countries like perhaps France, India, Canada, the UK, New Zealand. Uh, this is because they see really the cumulative value of working together towards a free and open Indo-Pacific and a rules-based international order. And nobody, as I said yesterday, it goes back to show that nobody in the world has publicly proclaimed support for China's quote unquote appropriation of the whole of the South China Sea as its own. On the contrary, several countries have condemned their illegal actions based on contrived history and contrived or an attempt to change international law and pound other countries into submission, into acquiescing or accepting their version of international law.
But sir,
Conversely, on the part of the Philippines, no country has condemned us for standing up for our sovereign rights.
that's right. But how valuable are these, messages of support and condemnation of China, considering that it hasn't really deterred China from becoming more aggressive in the West Philippine Sea?
It is valuable. It will not. It will. Okay. Deterrence of China is one thing, but there's also another dimension.
Yes.
If the acts are not condemned, if we do not file diplomatic protests, China can say, hey, you didn't file a protest. Hey, nobody's protesting. So you're accepting our version.
All right. So
That's the way international law works.
over 100 diplomatic protests already filed. Now, you mentioned earlier that countries like India, France, are interested in conducting joint patrols as well. Do these countries need an agreement first, like VFA, for them to join?
No, joint patrols we do not need. As I said,
Okay.
joint patrols agreements are not needed.
But the French government, I think, said that this was a requirement for them from the Philippine side.
Well, then we respect that. Probably it's an area-based requirement. That's why sometimes we term it as joint sales if it's just a passing through exercise.
But how open is the Philippines to the possibility?
We cannot say how often how often it will be, but
Okay.
as often as possible based on our operational capabilities.
All right. But how open is the Philippines to the possibility of allied countries joining resupply missions in the West Philippine Sea?
That is something yet to be decided upon, and I'm not at liberty to state what the situation is right now.
Okay. But as defense chief, why do you think that China is getting more aggressive in Ayungin Shoal resupply mission? I mean, what is Beijing's end goal? You said before China wants to turn the South China Sea to become a lake of China. What are you seeing?
No, they want to occupy it and to force countries into a modus vivendi with them. That's why their aggressive actions are always coupled with an offer for unstructured and without foundation bilateral talks. So the bilateral talk is part of the weapon that they use together with swarming, area denial, harassment, in order to pressure you into acceding into their demands.
Well, you mentioned swarming.
To their demands, yeah.
Yes, you mentioned swarming. There have been reports of Chinese ships inside Ayungin Shoal just in the last few days. How concerning is this for you?
Well, it is definitely concerning because they are getting more aggressive and demonstrative in their actions. However, I mean, the rest of the world's reaction to them is more concerning to them than to us, actually.
But
Because this is not a matter of Philippine law alone. This is a matter of international law, and beyond the EEZ is a global common, which cannot be appropriated by anyone. No. Now, China wants to claim everything. That is why also we have to be very, very vigilant in protesting, because part of the gray zone tactic of China and part of their quote-unquote, if I can call it legal option, is to claim the entire South China Sea as an internal water without any relation to their territory and enforce domestic Chinese law over the whole area.
That was evidenced by their 10-dash line. Dati 9-dash line, ngayon naging 10-dash line. So, how do
At
you...
saka yung paggamit nila ng maritime militia and Coast Guard.
So, how do you plan to counter?
Para yung narrative nila na pag-aari namin ito ay masubstantiate ng pag-enforce nila ng domestic legal jurisdiction nila.
So, how do you plan to counter po the possible swarming of ships in Ayungin Shoal?
Well, the countering really is in two ways. Insofar as my department is concerned, to build up our capability upgrades as soon as possible, to have a more robust presence in the West Philippine Sea, and not only there, but throughout our EEZ, wherever it is, and to build up an interoperability and partnerships and alliances with like-minded nations. Those three on the defense side are my priorities. Naturally, there are diplomatic efforts on the Department of Foreign Affairs side and national security efforts on the national security side. But to delve into, this is a complex problem. Each of us should focus on our own tasks because time is not on our side. We are in a hurry.
All right. Well, speaking of time, we need to take a short break.
But let me clarify,
Yes.
We're in a hurry because it's been a long time we haven't done anything, and we need to catch up right now. This does not mean that we see a looming conflict. Let me just be clear, because my words may be misinterpreted. No? Fake news abounds right now.
All right. Well, thank you for the clarification. Again, we need to take a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Menchu Macapagal. Our source today, Defense Secretary Gibo Teodoro. So, sir, I'm sure that you have heard of the statements from the Chinese ministry. The Chinese Foreign Ministry tells the Philippines they will not back down despite these alliances, and the Philippines' own interests will take a toll. Is this a threat? What do you make of that statement?
What was the second part of the statement?
They said that they will not back down despite these alliances, and the Philippines' own interests will take the toll.
Well, then it really proves what we're saying, that their whole interest really is to marginalize the Philippines. There are no peaceful intentions. They want to grab everything for themselves. So it just adds credence to what I said yesterday. They are the only ones. Sila lang ang naniniwala sa propaganda nila. Wala na isang bansa sa mundo na sumasang-ayon sa kanila. Hindi lang nagsasalita ng ibang mga bansa. On the contrary, ang daming bansa na tumutuligsa at kinukundina ang ginagawa ng China sa West Philippine Sea at saka sa South China Sea. O sa panig naman ng Pilipinas, isang bansa walang umuna o tumuligsa sa ating pangangalaga ng ating mga karapatan sa karagatan sa West Philippine Sea kung hindi China. So itong mga sinasabi nila na the Philippines will take its toll, sabay, bilateral, sabay kahit na anong alyansa ang gagawin ninyo, walang mangyayari at kayo rin ang mangangawawa. Ito ay talagang taktika na nila kasi alam na natin na nahihirapan na rin sila sa buong mundo, numero uno, sa kredibilidad nila dahil pinalalabas ho nila na sila ay very peaceful, peace-loving, magandang intensyon. Katulad po noong 1995, sa Mischief Reef, naglagay sila ng mga structures na basic doon para daw sa mangingisda. Ngayon, artificial island na may runway na may militar na doon. So, sila na lang ang naniniwala at mga tao nila na brainwash naman dahil walang malayang pamamahayag sa China at walang may layang mamahayag na katotohanan doon kundi makukulong unless na pinapayagan nila.
Pero even
so
after,
they are the only one
even after
that believe their own propaganda.
Even after all of those statements that they made, China still maintains it's not closing its doors to a dialogue with the Philippines. So I guess the question is a dialogue with China at this point still beneficial for the Philippines?
Well, it depends on what the dialogue contains or what the dialogue is based on. If they want a dialogue, but they claim indisputable sovereignty over the whole of the South China Sea, they do not respect UNCLOS, which they pretend to, they do not respect the legal principles of the arbitral tribunal, which other countries respect. And they will stick to their version of history, claiming sea without relation to coastal areas. Then, what kind of bilateral talks or dialogues can we expect? So, absent that, it is a delaying tactic on their part. That is my view. Now, I do not know on the part of the other agencies of government if there is a framework for bilateral talks. But on my end, there is not.
Okay. Well, the president.
There is no defense minister.
Okay.
I have no counterpart in China whatsoever. I do not see the need for defense-to-defense talks with China now.
All right. Well, President Marcos said that there is a need for a change in strategy in addressing issues in the West Philippine Sea. So, what kind of direction are we taking?
Well, we are taking a more self-reliant basis in protecting our EEZ. Okay, a lot of people say we're relying too much on this country A, country B. Common sense says a country will not join you in an alliance if it does not see that you're willing to shoulder some of the burdens yourself.
Okay.
Now, because of the willingness of the Philippines to stand up unyieldingly and to devote resources, taxpayers' money, for the effort against China, then it adds credence to our position. And okay, for the other countries, they have different interests. Sometimes it's freedom of navigation and sea lanes of communication, supply chains. But for the Philippines, we are a small country, small landmass, a growing population. We need the EEZ in the way we want, and the law, the UNCLOS, allows us to use it in order to shepherd our resources for the future generations. So it is existential for the future of the Philippines.
All right, but what
and that goes for 5 archipelagic countries in the world, 4+1.
So what about the new strategy in the West Philippine Sea? I know this was discussed by the National Task Force. When can this be presented to President Marcos?
It will be presented soon. But as the strategy is concretized into a working strategy, a documented strategy, we are already working towards a paradigm. There is a paradigm shift, definitely. And on the defense side, We are already taking the initiative with the comprehensive archipelagic defense concept. And what is important is that we have a goal. The goal is to project our authority over the whole of the EEZ and other areas where we have jurisdiction.
So are we changing the policy of friend to all?
No, we are friend
Okay.
to all, just as long as they are friends to us.
All right. Thank you very much, Defense Secretary.
How can you treat somebody a friend? We treat everybody as a friend, just as long as they don't take what is ours.
All right. Thank you very much,
That
Defense.
the president said, we are jealous of what we have.
Thank you again, Defense Secretary Gibo Teodoro. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Menchu Macapagal. You're watching CNN Philippines.